I remember paying that night. I went into my negative, y'all, the negatives, and my life was just in shambles. Just having that little bit of hope, like, I'm gonna have Christmas this year, and me and my children, we were really gonna celebrate. They had done went through so much. Oh my goodness, I felt guilty as a mom, not gonna even lie, because they would come to me and say, well, Ma, how come we don't get to do this, and how come we didn't get to do that? And then I had to walk them through gratitude and just being grateful for the things that you do have. I ain't gonna give all the details, but long story short, y'all, I went to church that Sunday, and God blessed us with a Christmas miracle out of this world. And it was a lot more than what I paid in tithes. God gave me, and I'm talking about a few days before Christmas, y'all, I couldn't do nothing but cry. Hey y'all, welcome to episode number 6, doing what just made sense with mom of 8, raising 7 children. And today I want to talk to y'all about tithing. Yes, making sure you're using your resources to honor the one and only source, which is God. Okay, so I want to jump straight into it. Before I do, a lot of the videos that y'all see me doing, I ain't even gonna hold you, I be a little tired. I be tired most of the time when I'm recording these videos. It is after a long weekend, right? So Sunday afternoons is normally my recording time, and Sunday afternoons is also the time that I like to wind down. I like to relax because it's after a full week, right? And then we have Saturday for cleanup and working if I have to work, or any family activities. And then it's Sunday. Of course, we're going to church early in the morning. We get up like they get ready for school. We go to church. And so I look forward to those Sunday afternoons, just taking that little nap. If you know a Sunday afternoon nap, it's a good time. So I look forward to my little naps on Sundays. So if you see me, and when I come on here and I'm looking kind of tired or fatigued, it's probably because I might be a little tired, sis. But I'm also committed to what it is that God has told me to do. And so I noticed that if I do take my nap first, then I want to get comfortable. And once I get comfortable, then it's hard for me to gear back up and to actually do what it is that I'm supposed to do. So I find it easier to go ahead and do what it is that I'm supposed to do. And then after that, then take a nap if I'm tired. Sometimes I'm not even tired after doing it, but again, if you see me on here and I'm a little tired, I look a little tired, that's probably why. So we're talking about sowing tithes and offerings. Before we get started, listen, I'm not a pastor, I'm not any of that. I'm just here to share with you one of the things that I do that I've been doing for years that just makes sense. When it comes to paying tithes, everybody have their own understanding, they have their own experience. I do believe that God instructs us to live a certain way, and also in his word he do give us biblical principles, not just on how to obtain wealth, not just on how to have financial success, gains, or anything like that, but also in how to live a prosperous life, right? So my goal is to be who it is that God have called me to be. And if God have called me to be prosperous, I desire just that. I desire nothing less, right? And so when we talk about moving from a place of poverty to prosperity, it starts in your mind. It starts in your mind. It begins in your mind. It ends in your mind. It's really a mindset at the end of the day. And so I dare not go into this without sharing with you all, like, yeah, we might have our own understandings of what it is when it comes to sowing tithes and giving our offerings. But at the end of the day, I'm grateful to be in a space that I am able to do that. There was a time where I wasn't even able to sow. And so now being in a space where I'm able to sow, I'm so grateful. I wanted to throw that out there because I understand that this could be a little touchy subject. And again, I'm not a pastor. I'm simply just wanting to encourage others to live their best blessed life. It's been my experience that paying your tithes and offerings, it has its perks. It's not a transactional action. It's not something that you do hoping that when I give this, God is going to give me this. No, because there's nothing that we can do. There is absolutely nothing we can do to receive his love, to receive his grace, to receive any of that. I am sharing it because I want you all to know the importance of the instructions that he left us with. He left us with a manual on how to live life. So there are biblical principles. God has made it very clear. Malachi 3:10, God would open up the windows of heaven and pours out a blessing we won't have room enough to receive. He will rebuke the devourer for our sake. And so when I think about giving my tithes and my offerings, it's not because, oh, I made this amount of money, let me check this off of my list, let me give him this, and then in hopes that I get more. It's not that. It is simply the fact that God is the source. And it is simply the fact that if I get, this is an opportunity. If I get, this is a privilege. If I get to honor God with my first 10% and some, why not do it? First of all, I'm a mom of 8, like raising 7 children, so I dare not try to do this in my own strength. I don't want to do it in my own strength. I don't desire to do it in my own strength. I don't want to be superwoman. I don't want to be any of that. And so I find great value in being able to say, God, I trust you with my life. I trust you with my children's life. You said that you promised me that you will rebuke the devourer for my sake. So that means that anything that is down the road, or anything that might be coming towards us now, I'm believing and I'm trusting you. God says in his word that where our treasure is, our heart is also. I'm trusting you with my treasure. It is truly a heart posture. I want you to know, God, that I honor you above my finances. I honor you above my coins. I trust you. I honor you. Not that I can pay for your protection, not that I can pay for your increase. It is, however, it is to say that I trust you. I trust you. I trust you. I don't care if my light bill is coming up. I don't care if it's really the fact that, God, you own the whole world. You own Dominion Energy or whatever light company that you might have. God owns it all. So it is a heart posture that you have towards God to say that you will trust him with it all. One of the hardest things for us to trust God with is our finances. So a lot of people find it really hard and challenging to give that part up, not knowing that God was the one that gave it to us in the beginning. It don't even belong to us. Money's supposed to move. It is just the way it is. It is supposed to build the kingdom of God. We sit here and we think about, oh, what is this person going to do? What does that person do? Well, it is our duty to make sure we are sowing in good ground. So when we have our spirit of discernment, God will place us in a space that is conducive to our growth, that is conducive to his word, that is conducive to his plans for our life, and that way we are sowing into fertile ground. And so we have to do our work on our end at the same time. When God have planted you in a place to be fed, it is absolutely okay to utilize your resources to build the kingdom of God. It's only right. Matter of fact, comment below, how do you feel about giving tithes, offerings, and all of that? I really want to know. I know a lot of people, they believe in giving to the poor. I mean, there's so many, and that is definitely biblical as well. But I want to know, how do you feel about tithes and offerings? Do you pay your tithes? Have you experienced any testimonies that you wouldn't mind sharing with others? Do you not pay it? I would love to know in the comments. I can speak firsthand about many times where God have really shown up on my behalf. There have been times where I've been solo parenting in my past, where it was just one income, and it was really a struggle for me to make ends meet, and I'll never ever forget. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to do a separate video very soon about this very thing. But there was a Christmas miracle that my children and I was able to experience. And I kid you not, I'm not even making this up. It was a season, like I mentioned before, that I was just, I was going through, okay? I was going through. It was nothing but the grace of God. And in this season, he had me investing on myself, doing the self-work. So a lot of my finances was going towards self-development. God had planted me into a mentorship program that was going to help me in my healing journey, and so I was all in. I had begun to shift from a poverty mindset, and that alone was challenging. And when I tell you, I started dealing with all kind of financial warfare left and right. It was like I stepped outside of the boundary lines that the enemy had created for me. But either way, I remember this season of my life where it had Christmas that came around, and Clubhouse was popping at the time. It was during COVID pandemic, and Clubhouse was definitely popping. So even as I was on Clubhouse, I remember hearing a testimony about a Christmas miracle, and that thing blessed me so much. The crazy thing about it was this particular year would have been the first year that I would have been intentional about celebrating Christmas in my own home. First year since my mother passed that I was going to be able to have Christmas in my home. So I started looking for a Christmas tree, and it was like soon as the joy started coming up, it was like the enemy was doing all kind of things my way to not make this happen, so much that here it was the week before Christmas. I did not have anything for anyone. I didn't even have money. My car had went through a series of different things happening, and a lot of my money was being issued out to my vehicle, trying to make sure that was straight. And so I remember this particular year, the week before Christmas, I remember my sister calling me that Sunday morning. My children were sick, it was just so much, y'all. That was a rough season. I remember my sister asking me that Sunday before Christmas was going to be that Thursday, I think. She asked me that Sunday morning. She was like, well, Ashley, what you gonna do about Christmas? I was like, girl, I don't know. I said, if it's God's will, we will have a Christmas. If not, I'm gonna be okay with that too. God, God is still God. And the crazy thing about it was the Christmas before this year, my children and I were very intentional. I shared with them like, hey y'all, this year we're gonna do for other people. So there won't be a lot of gifts giving in this home, but we're gonna be intentional about giving gifts to other people, right? So everybody was on. It took a little work, but everybody jumped on one accord. We ended up going on the trip for Christmas instead. But all the children, they really enjoyed giving that year. And so this year that I'm speaking of now, this following year, where my money was looking funny and my life was just in shambles, I remember just having that little bit of hope, like, I'm gonna have Christmas this year, and me and my children, we were really gonna celebrate. They had done went through so much. Oh my goodness, so much. And I felt guilty as a mom, not gonna even lie, because they would come to me and say, well, Ma, how come we don't get to do this, and how come we didn't get to do that? And then I had to walk them through gratitude and just being grateful for the things that you do have. And I just was so adamant that this year Christmas, I want them to have a great Christmas. And so God, y'all, the details. But so I remember that Sunday, church at that time was around 3:00. I was fellowshipping at Ford City, and so church wasn't that morning, it was that afternoon. The children wasn't really feeling their best, but it was like I was gonna get up this day because we had already missed about 2 or 3 Sundays. So I said I was gonna get up this Sunday, and we were gonna try to push through and go to church. Y'all, mentally, I did not feel my best. Emotionally, I didn't feel my best because my children were sick. They were coming. They had just came to my room and said, Mom, we don't get to do anything, Mom. What? And then I kicked all of my children out. I was like, y'all, get out. Go in y'all room and go tell y'all father what y'all want. Go talk to him, because I ain't had nothing else to give. I was laying in my bed with a sick baby on me. My son was 2 at the time. I'm laying in my bed. I'm like, oh my God. He's sick. He's running a fever. And then it was like God was tugging at me. He was like, you telling them to talk to me. You ain't even talking to me. And so I remember laying my baby down. He was still warm at the time. I laid him down in that bed. And I got in that shower. And my goodness. The showers catch everything. The good, the bad, the ugly, everything. If my shower walls could talk, oh my goodness. I'm talking about the tears that were cried in that shower. My goodness, so I'm in my shower and I'm like, I done had it up to here. I'm just like, oh God, maybe we'll just go to see the Christmas lights tonight, and I'll just pack them up some little goodie bags, and we'll make the best of it, right? Y'all. Oh, I'm about to miss the whole purpose of it, y'all. So the night before, now the money was coming in. It just was going out as soon as it was coming in, because it had went from 2 income to 1 income. And not only that, I had a lot of other stuff I had to take care of. I was investing in myself. Money was coming in. So this particular night, the night before, I paid my tithes. And when I paid my tithes, I went in the negative to pay my tithes, because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pay these tithes. $200 something ain't enough for me to get a full half of Christmas anyway, so I might as well. That was my mindset. I'm like, I might as well pay it, because I don't have enough to. This ain't enough to do a Christmas with anyway. So I might as well give it to God. And really and truly, God is the only firm foundation that I could stand on. Like, they have proven to be consistent in every way. They have never left me nor forsaken me. So I'm like, I'm not about to cheat him because I feel, because I'm feeling some type of way about life, or I'm feeling cheated out of life. I can't cheat him. It ain't his, it's something that maybe he's working on something on the inside of me. I don't know. I didn't know this at the time, but looking back, I'm like, he was definitely working on something on the inside of me, because baby, poverty ain't nothing. When you come up against poverty, just be prepared. If you know, okay? And I'm still on this journey. It's an ongoing journey, right? But so I remember paying that night. I went into my negative, y'all. The negatives. So fast forward to me getting in the shower. I'm getting in the shower, and now God have raised up this. As I cry out to God, it's like a warrior just started coming up and out. And before I knew it, I was no longer the wimpy, woe is me, dragging my feet into the bathroom because I done had it up to here and I'm just like fully depleted. No. Baby. God was like, you're either going to stand toe and toe against this enemy. You don't have to stand alone, but you're either going to stand up and you're going to fight, or you're going to allow the enemy to destroy you. Which one? It's only one way or another, and I've already called you to be victorious. Which one you gonna do? It was like God had put me to a test. So out of nowhere, I know it was the Holy Spirit. I know for a fact it was, because it was not me. It was just like the power of God. It was truly the power of God that overpowered anything that I had been experiencing in that moment, where I was then able and equipped to stand up against the enemy. Even be transparent with God in the way of, God, please forgive me if I'm asking for too much, because I know it's people out here that are burying loved ones, and if I'm here asking for, because life had made me this way where I felt like I was a burden. So I'm like, God, if any of that is the situation, please, please, please forgive me. But I do desire that my children have a good Christmas. And that was when God was like, well, you need to stand up and you need to. It wasn't really like he was giving me instructions, but he was definitely giving me permission. He was saying, you got what it takes. This is spiritual, my daughter. And if you don't fight spiritually, you won't come out of it. So I need you to put on the armor of God, and I need you to go. So he equipped me, and then by the time I got out of that shower, y'all, I kid you not, my child, he started feeling a little better. By the time, I'm talking about in a matter of minutes. I'm getting out of the shower. I'm like, y'all, we going to church. Everybody, why you put on y'all clothes? I say, just put on something clean. We ain't even got to get cute. None of that. Let's put on something clean. We are going to church. And then even as I was getting ready, it was like the enemy was still in my mind, like, no, you need to stay home. No, y'all gonna make it there too late. No, it was like, God was like, if you make it there, I got something for you. That's all I remember him saying. I'm like, dang, if I make it to church, you got something for me. I'm thinking it's a word, right? I'm thinking like, okay, I'm gonna go to church expecting. I'm always going to church expecting. Not me telling the whole testimony, and I said I was gonna wait till another video. I ain't gonna give all the details, but long story short, y'all, I went to church that Sunday, and God blessed us with a Christmas miracle out of this world. And it was a lot more than what I paid in tithes. God gave me, and I'm talking about a few days before Christmas, y'all, I couldn't do nothing but cry when soon as I went to church, soon as I went to sit down, Soon as I sat down and I placed the diaper bag beside my feet and I got situated, somebody was tapping me on my shoulder, telling me the pastor is calling you to go up front. Because the pastor's specific words was, God is telling me to do a Christmas miracle for a single mother. I'm talking about, y'all, this was in a duration of less than an hour from me leaving out of my shower, having that conversation with God, that encounter with God, to me getting to church and sitting down and getting ready to hear the word. Like, no, I cannot make this up. I walked into a supernatural blessing. So you can't tell me what God won't do. You can't tell me. God said he rebuked the devourer for our sake. That don't just mean that he will, if you pay $100 in tithes this week, that next week you will be able to pay $200 because your finances have increased. That may very well be a benefit of it, but that's not the purpose behind it. No. He said he would rebuke the devourer for your sake. That means that when my child was in that bed and he was sick and something was coming up against my home, that God intervened and that he had dispatched angels on my behalf to fight the fights that I could not see. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when my children are not in my presence, that God will protect them from the crown of their head to the sole of their feet, that they are covered by the blood of Jesus. I'm trusting God with my children. I'm trusting God with their futures. I'm sowing seeds now for my tomorrow. I'm trusting God with my mind. I'm trusting God mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. You know the areas of me that I need the most. I may not need it in a financial way. I may need it mentally. Whatever it is, God, you aid me. You know all things. You know all things, and I trust you with all things. So, God, I don't have the capacity. I don't have the wisdom. I don't have the bandwidth. I'm not capable of doing any of it. So, God, I trust you with all of it. That's how I feel about it. Like, it's a heart posture to say, God, I trust you with my life. I trust you with all areas of my life. Where my treasure is, my heart is also. God, my heart posture says that I trust you, that I honor you, that you get the first. That you get the first. That's what that means. So for me, it's a heart posture. That testimony that I experienced about 4 years ago, when it came to a Christmas miracle, that my children would be able to tell their children's children, because it was just that impactful, and they were able to live it out, and they were able to see God and know God in that way at such a young age, to know that faith is real, that know that God is real, that to have this type of intimate encounter with God. Man, giving your tithes and your offering is a heart posture. And so it's more than just you acting it out and saying, God, I'm going to give. No, you're giving with a generous heart. You're giving knowing that because of who God is. It's not because of what he can do for you. You know he can do what he can do for you. But it is because of who he is. It's because of what he's already done. It's because he is worthy. He is God alone. So we honor him with our tithes and our offerings. So I say all that to say this. I encourage you to trust God with your resources. Seriously, trust God with your resources. Whatever finances, whatever time, trust him with it. Honor him with it. It's not about who's going to use it for what. As long as you're sowing in good ground, allow God to do the rest. You're supposed to help build the kingdom of God. Your finances is supposed to move. It's a tool. It's not so that you can dictate, oh, well, I'm not going to give this because I don't want them driving. Like, it has nothing to do with it. It's a heart posture. When you're planted in the right space, in the right place, and use your spirit of discernment, God will lead you to the right place. He will show you where to sow. He will show you where to give. And then giving with a heart of gratitude, giving with a generous heart, knowing that God is deserving of it all. That you get, this is an opportunity that you get to honor God with your resources, with your finances. You get to honor him with this. So it is a blessing. It is a blessing. God will open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing you won't have room enough to receive. Do you trust that God, or do you believe that God, he knows what you need more than you do? He will open up the windows of heaven. If you need more joy, he will give it to you. If you need more peace, he will give it to you. If you need more guidance and wisdom, he will give it to you. Do you trust him? Do you show him how much you trust him? By surrendering, by yielding your resources. Do you trust him in that way? I spoke on this earlier, but I want to revisit this because I don't want you to think that this is a transactional service. So it's not like I'm going to do this because God can do this in return. No, I'm doing this because of God, who God was, because of who he is, and because of who he always will be. He deserves to be honored. He deserves to be reverenced in this way. And because my heart, it longs for God, my heart posture, it's a heart posture. You're willing, you understand that this is an opportunity. This is truly an opportunity for you to give. So you are expecting, however, you're not expecting for it to be transactional. So you're not expecting that, okay, if I give this, then I will receive this amount in return, because it's bigger than finances at the end of the day. All right? It's bigger than finances. Your goal is to just honor God with your first. That's truly what it is at the end of the day. It's a lot of benefits that comes with that, but that is not your motive. That's not your main focus. And another thing that I want to share with you all is back to the testimony that I shared earlier. I could have given that money, and I could have just been like, and this is just anytime you ever sowing, you ever paying a tithe or anything like that, you could give the money and you could just be like, I'm gonna get this money, but I really need to pay my bills, but I'm just do it because I don't want God mad at me. That is not what you want. At the end of the day, you want to give generously. You want to make sure that you're giving from a place of sincerity, because God know our heart. He already know. You wasted your resources if you're going to give and your heart is not in alignment with what it is that you're doing. So I would encourage you also to give from a place of sincerity and generosity. Giving because you know that God is deserving of it all. Okay? Y'all, I have went over my time. It is now, it's late. And I ain't even going to hold you. I'm sleepy. I'm so sleepy. But if this video have been helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please drop below any questions you might have, any suggestions, any tips. Listen, if you are a mom that's raising children, if you're a mom that have already raised children, this is for my seasoned mamas. This is for my empty nesters. This is for my moms that are aspiring to be a mom. This is for my moms that are raising the nieces and nephews. This is for my moms that are teaching all day long. Whatever type of mama figure that you are desired to be, this is an environment for moms, period, that are intentional about thriving in motherhood and all other areas of life. Because remember, you're more than just a mom. You're daughter of the King. You're just so many great things. So this is a space that I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to feel like we just chopping it up. And I would love to have a conversation. Like, just keep the conversation going. You never know who you can encourage. You never know who might be blessed by what it is that you share. Maybe it was a season that was rough for you, and just doing certain things or just shifting your mindset in a way are just ways that God has shown up on your behalf. That alone will encourage somebody else in more ways than you will know. Please be okay with sharing. Feel comfortable with sharing anything you would like to share that's going to build up, edify, or encourage any of your fellow sisters. Because listen, we all can use a little encouragement, right? So that wraps up my video, episode number 6. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get me some Z's. But yeah. But y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Until next time, bye.